How desert land becomes a billion-dollar gold mine. Cinematic hook, 10 to 15s. A sea of sand stretches to the horizon. The wind whispers across barren dunes. Yet beneath the dry surface, billions of dollars quietly flow. How can the harshest land in America become a gold mine? Pattern break question, what would you notice first? A lone irrigation canal snakes through the desert, reflecting the afternoon sun. Tractors hum in the distance. Somewhere, decisions worth billions are made, reshaping lives, water, and soil. One question lingers. Who profits from turning deserts into farmland, and at what cost? Context in one breath. Across the southwestern United States, deserts once considered uninhabitable are now the focus of high-stakes investment and massive agricultural transformation. California's Imperial Valley, the Arizona desert, and parts of New Mexico have become hotbeds for modern desert farming, powered by water projects, corporate investment, and advanced technology. Source: U.S. Bureau of Reclamation 2022. This story matters now because water scarcity, climate change, and corporate land ownership intersect with everyday food production. With billionaires like Bill Gates acquiring large tracts of farmland in the U.S., questions about sustainability, local economies, and environmental ethics are coming to the forefront. Source: The Land Report 2021. Pattern break, visual 3D map, fly-through with timestamps. Timeline of key events. Early 1900s, Imperial Valley, irrigation, the Colorado. River's water was diverted to transform desert land into fertile farmland. Massive canal projects, including the Imperial and All-American canals, made the Imperial Valley one of the largest agricultural regions in the U.S. Document Bureau of Reclamation, 1915. Visual map animation with canal routes, 1930s, 1940s. Mechanization and expansion. Tractors and mechanized irrigation expanded farming into arid zones previously deemed unusable. Families and small farmers thrived, and agricultural corporations began to see the potential of desert land. Footage, period photos of Imperial Valley farms. 1970s, water rights and legal battles. As population and farming demands grew, disputes over Colorado River water escalated. Legal frameworks determined which farms could access water, setting the stage for modern corporate land investment. Source: Arizona State Water Resources Department, 1974. 1990s, 2000s, billionaire investments begin. High-profile investors, including Bill Gates and other private equity firms, began acquiring farmland in the U.S., including desert-adjacent regions. These purchases drew attention for their scale and potential influence on food production. Source: Bloomberg 2020. 2010s, technological farming, precision irrigation, drones, and data-driven agriculture allowed previously marginal desert land to produce high yields. Corporate farms could optimize water use and crop selection at scales unimaginable a century earlier. Source: USDA 2018. 2020s, climate and market. Pressures, increasing droughts in California and the Southwest raised questions about sustainability. Meanwhile, desert farmland's profitability attracted new investors, further intertwining the story of wealth, water, and land. NAD footage, modern aerial footage of Imperial Valley 2022. Evidence and verification. Turning desert land into profitable farmland is not just theory. It is documented across multiple credible sources. The Imperial Irrigation District, for example, manages over 500,000 acres of farmland in California's Imperial Valley. According to the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, these lands have produced billions of dollars in crops like lettuce, alfalfa, and carrots since the early 20th century. Source: U.S. Bureau of Reclamation 2022. Bill Gates has reportedly acquired over 270,000 acres of U.S. farmland through various investment vehicles, including in Arizona and California. Analysts suggest that these lands are part of a strategic plan to invest in high-value, water-accessible crops. Source: Bloomberg 2020. Visual evidence card with labels. Bill Gates Farmland Holdings, 2020. Precision irrigation and technology-driven agriculture have been widely reported. USDA studies show that modern irrigation techniques including drip and center pivot systems, increase yields while reducing water use by up to 40% compared to traditional flood irrigation. Source USDA 2018. The pattern break info card. What we know versus unconfirmed. The role of government projects is also well documented. The Colorado River Allocation System, originally designed in the early 20th century, ensures water rights for agriculture, urban centers, and environmental management. Analysts have confirmed that corporate farms often benefit from these allocations, legally and strategically. Source Arizona State Water Resources Department, 1974. A visual timeline scrub with chapter dots showing historical water project milestones. Conflicting views and gaps. While many celebrate the transformation of desert land as a triumph of engineering and investment, critics raise concerns about water sustainability, social equity, and environmental impact. Some environmentalists allege that large-scale irrigation in arid regions accelerates groundwater depletion, contributing to long-term scarcity. Environmental Defense Fund 2021. Others dispute the idea that billionaire farmland ownership poses a direct threat to local farmers. Economists argue that corporate investment can improve efficiency, generate jobs, and stabilize markets. However, data on local economic outcomes remain mixed. Source Journal of Agricultural Economics 2022. It is also difficult to verify the full extent of land ownership, because some farmland is held via private trusts or shell companies, while the scale of investment is public knowledge. The exact motivations and management strategies are often proprietary and not fully disclosed. Source: The Land Report 2021. Pattern break sidebar term in line. Plain English. Shell company do business that hides real ownership. Human impact. The transformation of desert land affects both workers and local communities. Farm laborers, many of whom are seasonal or migrant workers, rely on these agricultural regions for employment. The creation of large corporate farms can bring modern equipment and higher efficiency, but may also reduce opportunities for small, independent farmers. Source: California Department of Food and Agriculture 2019. Communities dependent on water resources face complex challenges. While irrigation projects provide jobs and economic activity, they can strain groundwater and local ecosystems, impacting wildlife, recreation, and municipal water supply. Families living near large-scale farms often experience both economic benefit and environmental tension. Source: Imperial Valley Press 2020. Yet for some residents, these projects are a lifeline. Desert transformation enables local markets, exports, and access to fresh produce in areas that would otherwise be uninhabitable. The balance between profit, sustainability, and human well-being remains delicate. Pattern break question. How would you weigh profit against environmental cost? Expert lens, why it matters. To understand desert-to-farm transformations, experts compare it to a giant sponge. Water drawn from rivers, lakes, or aquifers feeds the land, allowing crops to grow where none could survive naturally. Engineers, agronomists, and investors work together to maximize this sponge effect, but it must be replenished carefully. From a broader perspective, these projects illuminate the intersection of law, economics, and technology. Water rights, property law, and climate adaptation converge, creating a complex system where mismanagement can have far-reaching consequences. Source: Stanford Water Institute 2021. Ethically, the question is about stewardship. How can society balance profitability, technological innovation, and care for both people and the environment? This lesson extends beyond deserts, offering insight into global agriculture and natural resource management. Mini recap pattern break. Infocard. What we know versus what remains unconfirmed. We know that deserts across the US, especially in California and Arizona, have been transformed into high-value farmland. Billionaires like Bill Gates have purchased large tracts, Modern irrigation and technology make cultivation possible, and government water projects support this growth. What we don't know in full detail are the long-term environmental impacts, the exact management practices on privately held lands, and the broader social implications for local communities and small farmers. This sets the stage for the next chapter, understanding potential futures for desert farming and the people it touches. Pattern break, visual timeline highlights fading into future projections. What's next? Scenarios. High confidence scenario. Desert farmland will continue expanding where water access allows. Precision agriculture, technology, and investment will drive profitability, especially in crops with high market value. Source: USDA 2022. Medium confidence scenario. Increasing droughts and climate change may force stricter water management. Some farms could reduce production, or the government may impose tighter regulations on water-intensive crops. Source: California Department of Water Resources 2021. Low confidence scenario, political or environmental crises could radically shift land ownership or farming practices. A combination of water shortages, market instability, and public scrutiny might reshape the desert farming landscape. Pattern break, visual speculative map with shaded risk zones. Ultra are respectful. The story of desert land and billion-dollar agriculture is far from complete. It is a story of water, soil, technology, money, and people, a delicate balance that affects millions and shapes the food we eat. If you found this exploration insightful, consider watching our next documentary, Water Wars and the Future of American Agriculture, which dives deeper into water rights, climate challenges, and the future of farming in arid regions. All claims in this documentary are based on credible reporting, government data, and expert analysis. We will continue to update this content as new information emerges. Content note: some economic and environmental impacts are discussed. No graphic violence or personal harm is depicted. Source notes and disclaimer. This documentary script relies on multiple publicly available sources, including U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, 1906-2022, USDA Agricultural Reports, 2018 to 2022, Bloomberg, Bill Gates Farmland Holdings, 2020, Arizona State Water Resources Department, 1974-2021. Stanford Water Institute Reports, 2021. Imperial Valley Press, 2020. Environmental Defense Fund Reports, 2021. The Land Report, U.S. Farmland Ownership, 2021. All statements about individuals, corporations, and projects are presented in a neutral, factual tone. Ownership, motivations, and management practices are reported as alleged or confirmed, based on public sources. This script avoids speculation, presented as fact, and maintains strict neutrality in discussing environmental, social, and economic impacts.